You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more.
Well, what up, Crusaders? You know what time it is, right? See your boy Al Mega back with another explosive episode of the Comic Crusaders podcast. And today, oh my God, we are bringing the fire with a return guest who's been cooking up magic since episode 67 of this podcast. Is like, my God, what a journey so long ago. Now I'm on triple digits, you know what I mean? This dude right here is a creator. He's a publisher. He's an innovator in the world of independent publishing. So we're going to be diving right into his creative evolution, all of these new projects, his business plays, and what's popping next from Kiss ME Comix and more than one. The only, the incredible Mr. Ron Jenkins. Baby, how you doing?
Dude, it's episode 67. My God, is that, and you're 573. Where has the time gone? But I'm on this side of the dirt. That counts, and I'm doing good.
Yeah, I think last time I saw you, I think you still had top hair.
some, yeah, and as you can see, I'm a little grayer now.
Oh, but man, you're going gray. I'm going white. Look at this, Jesus Christ! It's all right though. It's all right. It's yes, wisdom, baby. It's wisdom as we get older. We're getting fine like wine, baby.
There you go. Black. Right? We don't crack.
And just like your creative passion over here, right? I mean, Rob, first things first, baby.
Yes.
You know, again, it has been a minute. What's been cooking in the kitchen? Kiss ME Comix, and all that since then.
Oh my gosh! Well, since then, Al, things have. I'll give you the good and the bad, the ugly. The good, we're still in the game.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. Long story. Well, let's go. We've been. The last time I spoke with you, I was telling you about the animation and video gaming and everything. Well, now things have finally come to fruition to where the good Lord has put things in place to where now we are actually in production of animation. We are working on a test subject, as you will, to learn the process. And so as we go along, we learn the process, and then we're going to release it out to our universe for all the world to see. And then from there, it's going to expand into our characters and our universe, to where we're not abandoning the print per se, but we're just now getting ready to give ourselves an added footprint.
That's awesome. That's what you gotta do, man.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, did you imagine that we'll be back to Comic Crusaders podcast with more fire than a dragon at a barbecue, baby? What's going on?
Oh, yeah. Well, along with that, the sad news is we lost our partner, Robert Boyd. He passed away going on 2 years now.
Oh no! Really?
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. He had high blood pressure, and one day, he was getting treated for it, and then the last time I heard from him was 2 years ago on Batman Day, and that was the last thing. And then nobody had heard from him for a while. Then my brother, my biological brother, called me and say, "Hey, have you heard from Rob?" I'm like, "No." So then I immediately got off the phone with him. I called his phone, nothing. And the fact that if it was me, yeah, sometimes if he's busy, he wouldn't call me, but my brother, he would pick up. So I was doing my side gig. So immediately me and the missus hop in the car and get ready to go over there. And then the next thing I know, I get a call back from my brother, and in tears, he's like, "Rod, don't go over there. He's gone." And the sad part about it is, in his apartment, he had been dead a whole week.
Oh, he was alone.
Yes, by himself.
Well, you know what? I have a similar story with a fellow Crusader, Chris Busey. He rest in peace. Same kind of thing. Things got quiet.
Yeah.
And And so when somebody asks, Omega does. Listen, I have a skill.
Mhm.
I know how to deep dive research, right?
Right.
So, and my man was based out of Germany. Keep that in mind. So I said, all
Okay.
right, we haven't heard. We've reached out, nothing. I said, all right, let me sit down and start
Hmm.
going on the web, and using
Right.
the other web, and did a little deep dive and discovered that he had passed.
Wow.
A post from his job. So I had to go into where he was working to
To
find
find
out.
out, that's sad.
Yeah,
You
and he
know.
got 3 books out and all. Um,
Wow.
so what we understand is that they found him in his apartment.
Wow.
Hope it
Yeah.
was helped me later. I rather understand. I have a friend of mine telling me, well, he was depressed.
Mhm.
It leads you to think that maybe he did something else.
Right.
God
Right.
forbid, but R.I.P. Man. I know how tough it is to be a creator, and if you guys feel stressed,
Yes.
please make sure to communicate and talk those things out.
Always. Yeah. And we've, like I said, we've been together since we were itty bitty bitty. So, you
Um,
know, so for me, he was like a brother. So then I called my other brother from another mother named Robert and told him, and he flew up, he jetted up here. I ain't seen him in 40 years, and we hugged each other up, you
wow.
know, and and this is all along while we doing while I'm working on this animation project.
Yeah,
So
that's
because yeah, it is because part of the plan is once I get this project done, I get the process. I was going to animate it anyway, but now we're going to animate one of his books as a full blown animated short,
yeah,
and that's going to be in tribute to him.
nice.
Um, then the other tragic part is that my wife was in the hospital this past February. Her aorta dissected, almost lost her,
What? Oh,
but
sorry.
yeah, yeah, but glory be to God, she's still here.
Oh,
You
thank
know,
God. God's
so
great. Thank you, Lord.
so now we're in the process of recovering and everything else, and then from there, everybody send us some prayers and support because what she's also doing now she's expanding on her artwork. Not so much for the comic side, but the creative side, to where you see in the background of the mandala. That's
Yes.
her work.
Oh,
You
it is
know,
beautiful. That's why I chose that particular
yeah,
pick. I say, yo, this is so fire. Yo, bless
yes,
the lady, man. I hope how is she in the recovery? She's okay.
yeah, yeah. It's a slow process, but we're getting there step by step. So that just lets us know our mission is not done yet. You know,
Absolutely. There we go.
so along with that, she's also doing dream catchers from by scratch and everything. So from here, our world is expanding beyond the suits, beyond the capes and everything.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
because our we've discovered that we have a multimedia empire here. So now it's a matter of taking all that creative and getting it out there into where people can see, touch, and feel that we're just not a one-trick pony anymore.
I got you. So what do you feel is one of the most difficult things in trying to get the message out there now that you have this expanded universe that you're working on and building?
The the Just like with anything in these days and times, trying to understand how to get your message out there. Everybody will say social media, but it's not as simple as everybody makes it to seem. it,
Yeah,
it
for
is
real.
not. Been at been having all these accounts here and there, and trying to. Everybody says, "Oh, you gotta do it this way. You gotta do it that way," and it's not a one size fits all type process, you know. And they always said like, well, you got to find your niche, and I'm like, okay, you're telling me to take a nuclear bomb to swat a fly, basically.
You know what
And I'm looking at them like, well,
I mean?
I don't want us. I mean, I get it that I want a piece, but if everybody else is taking that same piece, I don't want to be left with crumbs either. you know
So,
so
you
so
ain't a pigeon. You're a hawk.
right.
Let's go.
and then trying to find. I mean, I know they're out there to where people, our people, and the new folk will see. And it's now with it's trying to find the right words, the catchphrases that make people go ooh, and latch on. So that has been one challenge. After all this time, I'm still trying to find out, and we're trying to uh, understand. Luckily now, in these last few years, I found people who have that knowledge, and I've been gaining things from them on how to better market ourselves and everything. And now with our soon to be forthcoming name change,
Oh, it's
is
not name change. Oh,
yes. Yes, yeah. So here is a big reveal for everybody. Um, Part of our process into developing our universe is that we were going to trademark Kiss Me Comics.
okay.
And unfortunately, a rock band with a similar name has beat us. That not gonna say they beat us to it, but you did. I'm about to test your dendrites here. Do you remember Kiss Comics?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, they trademarked it. And with our trademark Kiss Me Comics, they are rejecting it because we both start off with Kiss.
Kiss. Yeah, it's too close to their shit. Motherfucker.
Yeah. So, I was kind of hoping that they would say me makes a difference,
Yeah.
but they totally just ignoring
And
the me part.
you also you spell comics with the X as well. So
Right.
it does differentiate.
Somewhat. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
on
but
both
but
sides. They're
but
being
but
dicks. That's all it is.
yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
say it.
But the buttholes at the PTO, are saying that that's not enough. You know,
Wow, that
it
is crazy.
it is, and we sat here. We after the first rejection, we tried to. It's like, oh, this and this and this, clean up this, clean up that. We did all that, and we
Yeah.
pushed it through again, and it's come back the same way. So
Yeah.
Barbara and I, sat down and like, well, we could just keep doing what we're doing and just keep being Kiss Me Comics. And she's like, yeah, we could. But then when we blow up and they get word of it,
There's gonna be a problem.
exactly. Yeah, huge problem. So, so and since we've been rebuilding so much already, you
Yeah,
know,
it's best to
um,
be safe, man.
right, yeah. So, new laptop for the animation, new equipment to do all this animation, new this, new that. So we just said, well, since we're rebuilding anyway, and it's just my wife's exact words, why not? So now we are going to be known as Con Jin Boy Legacy Comics.
There we go. And what does that mean, Congen boy?
Okay, well, Con is the first three letters of my wife's name.
Okay.
Jen, my last name, and Boy is our partner for Boyd.
Okay.
So Conjin Boy Legacy Comics.
Okay.
So that way all three of us are still equally represented.
Wonderful. And you still have kind of the Kiss Me logo on it.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, you know what? That is us. Always has been. We thought about trying something different, but it's the lips. The lips have always got us attention.
Yeah.
Be it good, be it bad. So no, kinky, whatever. So no matter what, that's that, and that still ties back to who we are, how we started. So it's still all part of our evolution.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So you're still doing it all indie style, right? Or you have
Yes.
somebody like a Voltron level squad now? Is it still a solo project? You got new faces in the family?
Yes and no. As far as the print is, as far as the print side is concerned, we are still doing that old school. It's still just it was the three of us. Now it's back down to the two of us, and and actually that is the book that we're going to animate.
Oh, that's
The
going right there. Yeah, baby.
Yes, yeah, the special where the fans voted for this to become for Excessive Force to become a series. So, what better way to honor our friend and to show our growth than to take something that our not even our fans, our citizens voted for to make it real.
That's
Um, so from here, I've been gathering up all the animated pieces that I would need to help make that happen. We are still looking for actors to help make this happen. Uh, and the good thing about it is dealing with this with our primary project, I have found people who can help with music, Foley,
nice.
Good Vibes Studios are the people who are helping us with the sound effects.
That's
Some
excellent.
yeah, some of the background music for excuse me, this project. So so and so from here, it's going to be the animation side to where for the first time in our careers, ooh, excuse me, we're going to have help. So for
So,
us, we have to evolve on that.
how do people get in touch? So they want to, take part, try out. So say you need an actor, for example.
Oh yeah, if people do want to try out, they the best way to reach us is through Facebook, through our Kiss Me Comics, which will soon to be will be transferred over to Kanji and Boy. But for right now, they could hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or good old fashioned email at contact@kissmecomics.com.
Okay. I gotta add that, so people want to be interested. But there you
Yeah,
go, folks. You hear this, right? My man
right.
is doing stuff right now. Who
Oh,
this?
oh, actually, that is my first attempt at modeling.
Oh, okay.
With yeah,
Hey, check you out. Hey.
yes. Long story short is I've been, you know, we've been working our butts off, with side jobs and everything, and things have evolved to where um, I now have money to funnel into into these endeavors.
Nice.
So right, so from here I've gotten the software, learning Blender, and I've used Character Creator, and with that I was able to make that model of Bounty Hunter, my
Well,
character.
snap, bro. You must have been excited when you reached this point. Like, oh shit.
Oh, excited, and I'm like, about damn time.
How long were you messing around with this particularly?
This actually this was the shortest. This only took me 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
bro.
well, and because the thing of it all is, and I'm not afraid to admit it, I am a noob when it comes to this,
Yeah.
and for me, I can read all the manuals in the world, good and fine, but but it's better to learn hands on.
Yeah, but you're like me. We're old school generation. Don't
Right,
talk to me. I gotta
right,
do
show.
it.
Right, yeah, yeah. You show me how to do it, and then then let me do it,
Yeah, let
and
me
see.
take the wheel, baby. Let me
There you
drive.
go. Exactly. So with this, I'm like, okay, I'm going to work this out and see how it turns out.
Oh,
And at first, prior to all this, I'm like, hey, I could just go ahead and use our characters to animate. Then now that I got a little more of this onto me, I'm like, wait a minute, what if this doesn't work out the way I imagine?
mm.
I don't want our best properties to take that kind of hit.
I hear you on that.
You know,
Yeah.
so then I'm like, okay, so now what do I do? and I had this other little project that was going to be 2D. And I'm like, well, why, Ed, why don't I take that and let that be the first project, actually?
Okay.
To which I sent you that first little clip, and it would, and then that way I get to learn the process for it, and when it's all said and done, for our main characters and properties, I'm ready. And the process will be a lot faster, a lot smoother, a lot more and more refined. You know, but yeah, but this, when I finished, yeah, and oh yes, and then
Yes.
that is Serenade. That is my wife's character and our flagship title, our heavy hitter.
Ooh,
Um,
man, sexy looking character. Wepa.
yeah, she's half black, half Korean. Um, her husband is a black cosmetic entrepreneur, and he instantly falls in love. Why wouldn't he? He
Is it based on you, bro? What's going on here?
okay, and and for her, she's an entertainer, and for those of you who forgotten, she's also a fourth degree black belt. And so her husband had also on their honeymoon. Her husband gets gunned down by 7 gangbangers. She inherits the company, gets Vincent of poison lipstick, and goes after the 7 that killed her husband. And as you can, I don't know if y'all can see, but
hold on. Let me get you up there on the screen.
Yeah,
Snap.
yeah.
Okay, I'm digging that.
Yeah, this is the cover for her second issue, and we turned it into a T-shirt and wall art.
Oh, that's fire, bro.
Yeah. So, because in the end, what we want, and it's going to happen, is we're going to turn Serenade into an animated movie, full length.
Nice. So this is the movie right here. This is the one y'all want.
Right. In the end, it's all this is leading up to Serenade the movie, because we know the story reads like a movie.
It does. It sounds very. What was that? I spit on your grave type shit, but instead of a rape, it's the kind of death wishy.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, a lot of people, when they hear Serenade's story, actually it's been reviewed, and a lot of people have said and this is a direct quote, it's a cross between Kill Bill and She.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
A lot of people have said it's that kind of story. It's not straightforward. There's a lot of plots. It goes forward, backwards. So, and it's all coming, and it's all told from Serena's mind, because with her poison lipstick, she kisses people mostly. I ain't gonna say everybody, but mostly. And even though she has protection from it, it's not perfect.
Yeah, and just to clarify, she's not spraying herpes around and shit. She's
no.
poison on her lips.
Right. And believe it or not, it took a lot of and that is one of my favorite pages from Serenade. That's Serenade number 5, and that is the page where her husband gets killed.
Oh damn, bro! They fucking overdosed. What's going on here?
Exactly.
Exactly. No wonder, Jesus. Yo, why
Yes.
they got an OD like that? That's wild.
Yeah. That page there was one of it for me. It was fun to letter that.
Yeah.
Because really the way she draws and everything, it already told the story. All I had to do was just add a little bit to make it pop.
And it does sound like something that would happen, in the streets. Because
while
he's getting shot, man, he's still asking, "Where's our effort money?" Like, homie, you never let me find out now.
Okay, but the irony of this is this: when this first came out, I ain't gonna say when, things were violent then, and you fast forward to now. Does this look relevant to you now?
Well, absolutely. It's you know what? I'm a '90s teenager. That was a crazy era. To be honest, right?
Right.
And I think I think you're a man of that age. You understand how the era was.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And but now it's like kids are off the fucking hook, bro.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah.
I mean, at
Yeah,
least we had some morals and some kind of values. We would thug it out with hands,
right. And
guns came into
everybody goes
play
home.
last resort. Nowadays, it's the first resort.
First resort, exactly. And for me, that is the part where I know Conjimbo / Kiss Me Comix is still relevant, because you can look at that now and say that's today.
Absolutely, that's what happened in the news just in LA or whatever, or just the other day.
Yeah,
I see this consistently on the social media that nonsense
exactly.
is so out there, and everybody captures shit on camera. No one calls anybody. Like, come on, people, let's help one another. Stop spreading that.
Right,
life.
Well, they know. There you go. I mean, it sums it up. And for me, and for us, that just more or less now. And with this, with this, it was so beautiful. This was actually part of an album cover.
Oh, that's what it was. I felt the vibe to this, man. I just like saw this. It really stands out. The color, the vibes is like,
yes,
man.
Thank you.
It's a great
Thank
piece.
you.
I love it.
Because oddly enough, the guy that's actually helping us with this first project, he does music, Foley, and everything else. Cool. So when and this is actually it shows you how God's hands work. He actually works above the place that I clean on my side gig. So
right.
Yes,
coincidentally, okay.
So we get to talking and everything, and then next thing you know, he's like, I tell him, hey, my wife draws and this and this. It's like, well, can't she do X, Y, Z? He's like, yeah. So then we get to collabing, and next thing he's like, I want an album cover. Can she do this? I'm like, yeah. So then she comes up with this, and I took a background that she did way back when in art school, and just put that behind that, put a little stars, and hit and the title of the album in the main circles.
Okay.
And there you go. And then I'm like, this is too good just to use for one use. So so from here we tapped into our indigenous roots, and then we just so instead of the numbers, I put the totems, the spirit atoms in there.
Okay.
And eventually I'm hoping by this fall I'm gonna turn that into a t-shirt, because that is beautiful.
T-shirt, I think you should do make one on canvas as a giveaway. That would be dope.
Oh yeah, we could put that as a canvas.
This would look so dope on canvas in someone's house.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. I'm going to write that down.
Like a giveaway type, like a prize. Making it unique. Maybe one or maybe one of two, something. Depending how many fans.
Yeah.
That would be definitely fire, bro. As a canvas, I would definitely.
Right. Yeah. Well, you know what? That we can do that. Because the same people who did the shirt can actually do canvas. And for me, it would just be a matter of making certain that the saturation in it and the hues are right. So because with the other shirt that we did for Serena, I had to fight with the interpretation of the palette. The black wasn't black; it came out like a washed out gray.
Oh, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. After you wear black jeans, after a while, they just start fading and they get into that charcoaly color.
There you go. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, and that is what I had to learn how to fix.
Yeah, the only way, the reason I say that and remember that's so clear is that one day I had these cool pants, black, that kind of had like a shine to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they had a shine. I got them back. I'm like, whose jeans are these?
Right.
At first, so I'm like, oh my god, how do they get? What up? Thank you for fucking shit up. Anyway, that's why I laugh about that. That anytime anyone tells me how that stuff that was bad turned gray or charcoal that I really can't holler, it just sucks. All right, so what's going on here then in the universe? So you're making all these wonderful changes. You got all this dope art. Kiss Me Comix is going to content, Boy Legacy Comics.
Yes.
So what's been going on deal wise on the circuit? Have you been traveling on conventions, meeting the fans, getting books out there? What's popping with that?
Oh well, that therein lies the other part of all this. We due to life just being life, we kind of had to step away from that for a little bit. But once again, just how weird things fall out and fall together. Um, we're getting slowly back on that horse.
Okay.
Um, just prior to my my partner's passing, I was able to go to the fan expo, the very first fan expo here in Chicago.
Nice, nice. How was
Yeah.
that event?
Oh, that was beautiful. I was scared to death because it was just me by myself, and you know, and
Wait, you never did a condolo before?
um I've always no, not by my. Well,
No.
you know what? In the early days, way when when we were just starting out, I
Yeah,
did a couple, but then usually it was either the missus with me or Robert with us,
yeah,
and I was never actually alone. Um, it was like I would have somebody. I maybe by myself for maybe a day, couple of hours,
yeah.
something like that. But
This time you were alone.
yeah, totally alone. I'm like, oh, I'm like, I don't know, but it was fun, and it just so happened to turn out to where it was because when I saw this, I'm like, is these the same people that we first launched with? So I'm like, okay. They're like, let me ask, are you the same fan expo that's in Canada? They're like, yes, we are. I'm like, well, we first launched in Fan Expo up in Canada, and we went there for 7 years. It would, I'm like, and I phrased it, it would be nice for us to come back home to and start again. And they're like, well, if we can find you a table to be, can you do this? I'm like, yes.
Heck yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah, fuck yeah. And lo and behold, they're like, we do have a table in Artist Alley. How much?
Yeah, man.
$400. I'm like, but the Lord works in mysterious ways. We got the money, got the table, and my synopses is on our YouTube channel of when I went there.
Oh, nice.
Uh, and I'm going to say I was nervous. I was nervous. I'm like, do we still have it? Are we still relevant after
Yeah.
all this time? You know, and I'm like, and even though I've seen the changes, I'm like, how much of a change is there? And when I got up in there, I'm like, I still felt a familiar vibe,
Yeah.
and I met some very interesting people that I could collaborate with. I've met some new people who new to the game. They're like, hey, I got this, and and I felt like Yoda.
Yeah.
I actually felt like Yoda. It's like, hey, just try this, remember this and this, and it felt good to pass the knowledge
Yeah,
that
and
I
like when you share stuff that you've learned, right?
right, yeah. Exactly. 20 years of knowledge and bumping, doing things the hard way, bumping our heads and, going, so this is how we do things now to actually pass that on to another generation, and seeing the talent that's out there. It was, for me it was encouraging. Um, so now we're going to get back to that horse, but right now, with the animation and everything and other stuff going on, right now that we're going to, but right now, we'll catch as catch can. Um, for that, if we can find something local, within the state or um, tri tri-state area, we'll if Lord makes it possible, we'll go. You know, but for right now, we know we gonna let things set work on us first, getting things back to where we can feel comfortable doing that. You
That's the,
know,
now,
and
what's the vibe now? Would you say if Kiss Me Comix, I mean Congen, Roy, or is a music genre right now? What's the vibe? You say?
the vibe, alt I guess the vibe would be alternative still.
All right.
Yeah, that's the best way, because
Right.
even when we first started, we didn't have a way that you could actually pigeonhole us. You know, excuse me.
Excellent.
You know, because Serenade is not your typical story. You know, we put it along the lines of a psychological thriller, excessive force, action adventure.
Yeah.
You know, Bounty Hunter is sci-fi slash superhero. So so for us, you know, we have had we can we or we've always had something for somebody to get into. One of our things is, you know, we can entertain anybody from 6 to 60.
Excellent. Okay, that
You
number.
know, you
Yeah.
know, all you gotta do is have an open mind. You know, and I and as a, then as a now, before you say, try us out, then you can make a, you know, if you don't like us, okay, cool, you know, at least you tried.
Exactly.
You know,
Have a real opinion.
there you go, exactly, have a, you know, just don't go off of online.
Yeah, I hate that shit. You know, I admit this. If I didn't read something, I ain't read it. So if I ain't read it, I ain't gonna say, "Oh, but I heard it sucks." I would never do no dumb shit like that.
Well,
I feel that's the image. I don't know. I'll let you know when I read it. You know.
right,
No, but
well,
what about the writer? This like I don't know. Writers change from story to story. One day they could have a shit book, and the next book could be fucking like the most amazing thing you ever read.
true that, you know, and for us, that's another reason why for us social media is so strange to us, because the slightest thing somebody says, it, before you can even get a hold of it, it's out of control.
But sometimes it's best not to respond to those things. If somebody wants to start some shit, go ahead. You know, I'm one of those. You know, I live. You know, again, '90s teen.
Right,
So in my head, I'm still one of those. Like, okay, listen, I don't do this online. You know, I'm going to be at so and so convention. Tell me there.
right.
I dare you.
Hmm, hmm.
Still, I don't give a shit. You know, it isn't. It's all right. I'm a
Yeah.
divorced man now. I got nothing to lose.
Yeah, you know, so you know, so and as we're rebuilding, well, I can't even say rebuilding, I'm going to say evolving, because that's exactly what we are. We're
That's what we're
evolving.
talking about. Yeah, baby, the evolution.
Right,
You know,
we
from Kiss Me Comix to Conjure.
and
I
Jim,
love this. I love this. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying. Episode 67, over 500 episodes ago,
yes,
folks.
yeah,
And now to see this, I mean, yes, you've had some trials and tribulations, but look at you. You have not stopped. Bro, I salute you, man.
oh,
And
well,
this is indie, baby. This is the
well,
journey of
thank
indie. People see, man, if you were some big guys who have been all over the news, people don't know how hard the indie struggle is sometimes.
they don't, you know,
We
and
appreciate you, man.
thank you for after all this time still staying in the game and still being on that horse. You know, to be perfectly honest with you, I was may not have always tuned in, but I've always been seeing you do this, and I'm like, if he can, after all this time, stay in this game, stay enthusiastic, and you know, and keep being that voice for people like us, you know, then what? Then that's more incentive for us to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, well, we
You
know
know,
the Crusaders will always have our indie people. That's for sure. You know, always for sure on that.
oh
You know,
yeah,
let's talk about that. You know, with indie, right? So, do you see kind of like the comic book landscape shifting more towards indie publishers? You know, like yourself. You know,
I
how's the field looking for you based on how you know what you've seen?
Well, you know what? The for me, the feel is now that you have I look at it like there's that glut again, like it was back in the 80s, 90s,
Okay.
where everybody. But the good thing about it is the content is better than back then.
Yeah,
You know, and
I get it. Yeah.
you know, and at the same time, this is the age of indie all across all across media in general.
I agree. Oh, yeah, yeah. Music,
You know,
movies, absolutely, bro.
and so now, whereas back then you had people literally about ready to stomp each other out just for that piece, and now it's that aspect of it has changed to where okay, you do you, I'm gonna do me. And with the social media aspect of it all again, people can find you can find your audience now.
Yeah,
And from there you can grow that audience organically.
yeah.
you
Like talk
know
all that shit you want about Eric July that you guys will, but he knew how to build an audience and knew how to
hmm
bring his audience with all the different things he did to have
right,
the books that he's selling the way he's selling. So I mean,
right.
talk all that shit you want, but my man's selling books.
Books, there you go. you know and
That's what they got. They talk shit about him because again, he's not the
it,
typical looking creator, right? Right?
right,
Right?
but see, at the same time, what you got to do is like what you did. Okay, he's looked like this, he looks like this, but the man is still doing his thing.
Yeah.
And I can say the other part of the indie scene that is interesting now is now now the creators themselves have matured.
Yeah.
They I'm quite certain they're still out there. You're still gonna have a few that are going to be trolls no matter what. But now the creators are like, I'm not wasting my time bad mouthing them. I'm gonna take that energy and work on my craft.
Yeah,
You
show
know,
and prove, baby. Show and prove. Why put energy into negativity when you could put that energy in some work?
work exactly. And now, like I said, this is these last 10 or 15 years is the age of indie, and slowly but surely the big boys are realizing that. That's why now they are hell bent on maintaining their status quo. But the harder they try to maintain that status quo, you see it crumbling.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I think DC is the only. I think the one doing a nice job with that whole absolute run.
mhm.
Refactoring their line, different takes, but wow, people are eating that shit up. But
Oh
again,
yeah,
using their established characters, doing it a little different and fun.
right.
That's what comics should be. Please, yeah, take And I know comics always had messaging, but but it got
Right.
to a point where it was like about the messaging and no longer about the comic book.
Coming. Right.
Now
And
we're getting back to you saying this comic book story.
exactly. Because now, and I saw a lot of people arguing about this, about, well, they're doing this the radical left and all that, this and this and this. And I'm like, okay, but the thing of it all is the comics in general has been for everybody.
Yeah,
Whether you want to admit to it or not, it's just the fact that the big boys, instead of just simply just letting the content speak for itself, they didn't want to turn it into a marketing tool.
yeah,
And that's when people started having pushback, because now it's just not somebody saying, here I am. Now you have a conglomerate trying to cram it down your throat.
yeah.
And I think that's where the backlash started. Had they just simply just quietly, like in the days of Alpha Flight and everything, just quietly let the story do what it do.
Let it
And
evolve and everything's natural and no shock value.
they
But,
exactly.
but you know what the difference was again in that day? We also, again, you said this before, but there was no social media. So
Right.
there was no backlash that you could get instantly. You had to wait to the next letters column or a magazine to see any backlash or the comic shops. But now
Exactly.
you go on Wednesday to the shop, you see the book, and within 5 minutes of reading it, at 12 p.m. or whatever, 10 a.m., you're tweeting already about this shit. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Right. Exactly. And so for me, that's where, once again, trying to navigate this, granted, I've been in this since the evolution of the internet and social media, but to fully understand it and master it is, for me, I'm still learning. I'm still learning on.
Have you ever attempted? I'm always curious as a creator. This, I don't know. Have you ever attempted to get someone that like does social media to help you, or you think you don't need that and you just fucking you learn yourself?
Well, I would love to have somebody like that on our side, because that would be one less thing that I have to deal with. But and at the same time, that's cost money.
We're gonna talk. I gotta show you the way, my brother. I'm gonna have you saving so much time and getting your message out there. You're gonna be how the fucking. Here's how Al does it. Oh yeah, I'm gonna show you some shit, bro.
Okay.
I think you're an amazing creator. You got some stuff. You're working on stuff, and to see you still, working after all this time. Again, even through all the stuff you've done, it's amazing. So, and the fact that again you're doing it for your homie too. Salute. Rest in peace. It's like, this is fire, bro. So
thank you.
And again, to your lady, I hope she continues to get better. She's an amazing artistic presence. So, I hope your lady get better.
Thank you.
And you gotta talk to me here. I need to know what's next for Rob Jenkins and of course Convoy, Legacy Comics, baby. Give me that full crystal ball vision, my dude.
Okay. Well, barring any unforeseen complications, the first part of our animation project, knock on wood, it's going to come out in July, fully voice acted and everything. We're gonna put it out there, and let the folks know that, hey, this is our next step of evolution. Then from there, I'm gonna take a small break, catch my breath, and then the next project is going to be to take the next step and animate our partner's book.
Okay.
Then from there, if things work out right and we feel froggy enough, then we gonna get back to our books, and getting the next stories out. If not, then from there, we're gonna do some animated shorts for all three characters.
Nice.
Yeah, and then from there, if I can squeeze it out, then I'm hoping to start game development.
Okay.
Then that'll be the next facet of that. And then if everything works out right with Barbara and whatnot, then we can expand on her other creatives with doing the mandalas, doing the dream catchers.
On the gaming, I highly recommend you go to PAX, bro, and just go to Network. Get that ticket for a PAX event somewhere, and it just happened over the weekend over there. And I had a friend went. Again, he's not a gaming fan, right? But loved the fucking show. He's like, that's how you run a show. You know what I mean?
Right.
Active gaming, the energy was wild, and you get to see how big of a community. I sometimes
I know
that big. But I mean, that's what comics used to be.
Right? Yeah. Well, yeah. Well,
it's still big, but it ain't packed big. Holy fuck, bro.
Well, when we were going up to Canada with the Fan Expo, and I can't say enough about them. They, when we went up there, they adopted us. There was so much love. When we first started going there, it was just the comics and the anime. And they had a little bit of horror, but by the time our seventh trip, they've expanded to where you had the sci-fi, you had the cosplay,
Pop culture.
right? Yeah, you know, they were it really. Then you had the gaming people, you know, and the beautiful part about it was, even though you had everybody doing their own thing, everybody still kind of potlucked, you know, because let's face it, and for them, they realized real quick that just because you're a gamer, you still have other interests. You still may do the anime. You still may
Yep.
do the horror,
Yep.
and then from there, you see something that catches your eye, and then you go, hey, let me check this out. Let me go.
Yeah.
Let me see. And then next thing you know, boom.
Next thing you know, you got another habit, another hobby, and a little bit more coming out your check every week. I love it, bro. That's hobby, that's fandom. And
Oh.
if it keeps you out in trouble, I'm all in support of it. I don't give a fuck right there. You know what I mean?
Well,
Go
you know,
stay home, go buy your toys, everybody, and play home. Whatever you guys do, take your pictures and, you know, stay off the
right.
street. In trouble. Fuck that. You know what I mean? All right, pay to the toys. I love that shit. I play with my toys anytime.
Well, you know, for us, I'm hoping that within the next 5 years, I'm hoping, especially with this animation, to get it online, and I mean as in Netflix, Hulu,
Okay.
Tubi,
Yeah,
because
you know, right now, I'll tell you this again, just in learning the game, Tubi's the one that's open for a lot of content. They're really hungry for content. My brother, let me tell you, you bring something like this to them, you probably get some help. I'm telling you, bro. And plus, you know, you gotta remember who owns Tubi. So finally, having a company that is a streaming company that's owned by minority is actually effing cool. And the fact that they're hungry for that content, you know,
well, that for us, that is the name of the game, because there's a couple of other projects that I have written out that I want to bring to the fore.
Yo, let's get it, brother. Let's get it, man. Shit, if I gotta help you too, you talk to me, man. I'll fucking try to do whatever I gotta do, because I believe in what you got. I think Tubi would be a wonderful way, maybe. And again, you know, I don't know how these things work, but maybe you could probably get some paper out of that to help fund the project. You feel me?
Well, that's another reason why I dropped that little tidbit to you. So that way, if people out there in Comic Crusaders want to donate and to help our cause, because and I can truly say this, every little bit that we've gotten to get to this point has been on us, you know.
I know the journey of an entrepreneur, my brother.
Well, yeah, you know the journey. You know.
you preaching to the choir when it comes to me.
Exactly.
We spend because we love, and you know, listen, patience is the key. That's what Machiavelli says. You know, Machiavelli said it. I mean, anything that's rushed is going to crumble. You know,
true that.
But through patience and perseverance, you know, you're building a stable foundation of something that's supposed to last. So you got this, but the Jenkins verse is going to last, baby.
Well, yeah, you know, it's and that is the one point for us, and that has been our strength, despite the setbacks and everything. We're still here. We're still relevant, and we're still we've managed to find a way to grow. Because for us, this is not for us. We know this is not a hobby. This is destiny. And with Kanjin Boy is the next step to our evolution, to our destiny. You know, Kiss Me Comix got us up to this point. Kanjin Boy Legacy Comics is now going to get us to the next point.
It's 2.0, baby. That's it. That's it. It's getting ramped up, and it's real now. So let's make it happen, folks. So right now you can follow them on Kiss Me Comix with an X, all right? You know,
right
on X, Kiss Me Comix numero dos on Instagram is number 2.
Right. And then for those folks who want to see more of Barbara's creativity, she's on Instagram at Baj Creations with a Z. So
make sure to email me that so I could add that into the notes. All right, and make sure that people are gonna have it. And you know, again, all this is gonna. Are you gonna change the social medias?
Eventually, yes.
Okay.
That and this is the other part that is going to be crazy. Because from here we have to change our social media. We have to change federal. We have
Website.
to we have to deal with the tax. We have to deal with the Library of Congress. Um,
Jesus.
yeah. Dun and Bradstreet. So and then eventually the website. So this changeover, excuse me, is multifaceted, and it's and little did I realize now is just how complex it is now, and that's just a testament to how after all this time since episode 67, how much of how many pieces we have pieced together for this. You know, I don't know how many how many independents can say that, you know, and and for us that's just less and for us this was what we wanted to be, because we had that vision back then that we wanted to be like the Roaders. We want to be like Disney. We want to be like Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
But do we want that big fat corporate machine? To a point, yes. I ain't gonna lie.
So you want that paper, of course, you know.
Yeah,
They pay, but then again, well, what happens is they rape you for your vision and
right.
sell your soul.
But here's the other point. The other point is, I would want that setup, because I don't know if anybody realizes, but the reason why they can keep doing what they're doing is because they have the media machine behind them. They have TV stations that where they say you're going to show this, they're going to show it. They have the movie studios to do all this. So for us, that is where we want to be. We want to have our own apparatus. I think that's the right way of saying it.
Yeah, man, apparatus that you want. Yeah, I hear you. 100%. You want your lane. You want your road. Your channel. I mean, and again, but right there. But now it's easier than back in the day for us to be able to level up. That's why I don't like to see people say, "Oh, it's hard nowadays." No,
No.
it's not.
Exactly.
It's only as hard as you want to make it. Because let me tell you,
Exactly.
there's so many more doors open nowadays,
and that's
fucking
yes.
before. So don't give me no fucking excuse.
Exactly, and that's why, and that's another reason why we kept pressing, because when we sit back and look at all the pieces that we have, we're like, it's there. We have it already. We just need the right people to help us to help guide us into those right spots. So then that way, boom, that's another reason why for this animation, I'm like, hey, we've got our YouTube channel. We have this,
You gotta utilize every tool at hand and reach the right people as well. I get you on that, build that network. It's important, I believe, to go to cons. Sometimes you don't even need the table. Just get a regular ticket and go up, go up to these developers, go up to whoever con it is, and whatever you need, just talk. Worst anyone could ever say is no. For me, it's like, I'm not afraid to talk to anybody now. I mean,
right.
I grew up in Brooklyn as a hustler. Hey, whatever. You say no, it's all right, no problem. You're gonna say yes next time. We're good.
Exactly. Now I can truly say one of the things that has helped us and helped me is I went to the Small Business Expo here in Chicago.
Oh, nice. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, man. Tell them. No comic book creators ever mentioned that expo. Everybody talks about fucking cons, but this is why I respect you, my brother, because you treat this as what it is, a business.
Exactly, because I mean, granted, we are creators and everything, and this for me, this is the part that I'm trying to get to the younger ones. You have to understand the business side of it. And for me, and Al, please, for one episode, let's talk about AI in this industry and the repercussions of it.
I actually want to do that because I'm a fan of AI in a business sense, and because I want to tell people, AI, the popular thing that people love to discuss is the artistry side of it,
Mm-hmm.
and that robbery, that scraping, as it's called, right, of
Mm-hmm.
other people's styles and whatnot. And
Right.
it's a conversation to be had. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it is a conversation.
Part of it as well, because on the business side, for those that are not educated, you have now your own consultant here that you could ask questions to, and scrapes that data and helps you understand things that you should do. I mean, again, I use it to scrape my own data. You understand?
Okay, right.
Like, look at my own thing and tell me what I could do better. And this shit actually tells me what I could do better.
Exactly. And
it has this good and just it has this bad. And Rod, I would listen. We could talk about that for another hour. So
yeah.
Let's just do this right now. I'm gonna put that together though. I'm gonna definitely have you as one of the guests to come through on that because everything you said. But then I keep hearing you say, "Oh, I'm working with people," and I respect that so much because other people nowadays are just turning to AI. Period. And skipping the human element. And I hear what you're saying. So this is going to be an interesting subject. So before we go, let people know your advice. Like, you've been in the game, like I said, we spoke so many years ago and you've gone through things, but you're still fucking pushing hard, bro. And like, again, a whole salute to you on that. Well, what type of advice you give the youngins out there now?
To the youngest, if it feels right for you, do it. And this is the one thing that I have learned off the top. And Steve Harvey says all the time, when is the right time? Now. Do it now. Do it now.
And again, for those that don't hear you in the back, baby,
do it now. There is no perfect time. Do not wait for the perfect moment because it's not going to come. The perfect moment is when you say, I want to do this, and be prepared. It's going to be work. It's going to take a lot of work. And it's not going to be easy. Hell, been at this 20 years. It's gotten simpler to a point. But then as we evolve, as we are ever evolving, there's new challenges, and no matter what, I don't care how many years you are in this business, you still are going to learn. Do not just say, I'm going to close off my mind, and don't say no to other possibilities. Absolutely. If it's not working this way, find another way. Yep. If it's for you to do this and for you to be in this business, the path will be open to you.
Yep, the doors will open. Be patient. Nothing's overnight.
It's not.
I also think that people are overnight successes. No, they're not.
No,
they work so hard, and when they finally start talking about them, you're like, oh, they just came out of nowhere. No, do research. And people have been working for years, and they just finally get noticed.
Exactly.
I'll give you an example. Like, I loved Rodney Dangerfield, comedian, right? Rodney Dangerfield going
yes.
But did you know that he didn't get his fucking first real shot until he was in his mid-40s?
No way. Wow.
Yep. Mid-40s. That's what he said. I get no respect. He did his shit on the circuit, but never got his first break until his mid-40s, bro.
Wow, that's something.
So that's what I'm saying, people. It's like, it takes time sometimes, but when it's meant for you, when it happened for him, it happens.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. It happens, and
he became legendary.
And for the young ones, I'm once again, I'm going to be preaching to the choir. Have a thick skin. You are going to have people that are going to eat your shit up, and you're going to have people that tell you your shit is shit.
Yeah, they're going to tear your shit up.
Yes, they will. And in the end, let them and for me and for us, I've gotten to the point now. If somebody says with this project, when it comes out, oh, I can do better, where's yours? Yeah. Do it. Prove it. Do it. You know,
exactly. Show and prove, baby. That's all we tell everybody. Show and prove, baby.
exactly.
Other than that, don't talk to me about no other shit like that.
Exactly, because and for me, for us with this, it's about learning the process, understanding the process, and learning how to get good at it. So then that way, with the next project, it's going to be better than the first one.
And be humble, folks, as you learn.
Oh yeah, always,
absolutely, because that is key as well.
Yes,
I've learned so much shit. I would. All people gotta do is ask me, and whatever I know is yours. Let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for real. I'm not greedy. I met Tom Billieu. I went to a party at San Diego Comic Con, back before COVID, and he had this whole speech, and he said, "Yo, share all your secrets." Possibly 0.1% of the people that hear you will do any action on what you said. Let's share your secrets.
Exactly.
I say them all. I don't give a fuck, and I'm open, and let's make it happen. I want you to be better than me, please. I can't be the only one doing this.
Well, you know what? We had one for a while, and it was successful. I for me, my greatest moment was when I got to speak to, at that time, the current artist of Dick Tracy. I forget his name, and I mean, he was only the fourth person at that time to draw Dick Tracy. I felt it was such an honor to actually, when I reached out to him and said, "Hey, I will be on your show." I'm like, wow, and thank you for continuing to be that voice. And anytime you need somebody to bounce stuff off of, or to just to whatever. Because I'm hoping that maybe in July I could drop that link and say, "Hey, Wappa."
You know what it is? Listen, it is the home for indie. For I'm telling you, have press releases for your projects and all. Your Kickstarters, your crowdfunding projects. Whatever it is, I'm like, we're open to share and distribute, because I know how a lot of websites be like, you have to be in Diamond, or you got to give us this. Fuck, that's bullshit.
Thank you.
Bullshit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If you're giving me stuff to share, you're giving me content, and I'm going to bless you too, because people then are going to visit my site to read about your news. Awesome. Right. Everybody wins.
There
so
you go.
I don't need no books. I don't need no nothing. Like, I appreciate, always creators ask, "Hey, I'm going to send you a physical book." I say, "Yo, if you want to send me a PDF, because it doesn't cost you anything."
There you go.
Sell those physical copies, folks. Listen, I have a lot of stuff. Please, I would love that. Sometimes there's certain creators that I would love to have something. I do have a box of indie of stuff that people give me that sign and stuff. That's special. Feel me? Right. So that's not anything I will let go. But sometimes again, I want you guys to sell your stuff, man. It's very key. That one book that you send me sometimes that's a $10, $20 book. That's $20, $10 out your pocket. I mean, indie. You guys, when y'all make it into a fucking, big 2 type level money, then go ahead, send me everything you want. All right.
Right.
Send me a car if you want. I don't mind. Anyway,
okay.
But you rock, bro. I'm gonna tell people again. This is probably the last time you're gonna see this before it turns into Congen Boy Legacy Comics. But right now, you can still visit them at
Kiss
Me Comix with an X. Okay.
Yes.
Follow them on X. All right. At also Kiss Me Comix. Instagram Kiss Me Comix #2. All right. And Kiss Me Comix 125 on Facebook. Show the love, support independent comics. Right, Jenkins? You already heard. He got a whole universe plan. He got that animation. He got books. His lady's doing thing. And a salute to your lady.
Thank you.
Recovery. God bless. And again, and I'm so sorry for the loss of your creative partner. But I mean, here better the place watching and guiding you now. Let me tell you, my man watching you now, you ain't gonna fail. Let me tell you. All right. So with that, it is Crusaders. I see you all lurking and watching, especially those on X. I appreciate you. The X audience is fantastic. Everybody be tuning in there and just watching. I appreciate it. You know what it is? Follow everything Comic Crusaders, comiccrusaders.com. Gives you all the links right there. I'm Al Mega. It is Rod Jenkins. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. Wepa!
Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.